Hello, it's a beautiful late June evening. We're finally getting some good summer weather here in the UK, and I thought I'd go for a little stroll around the garden and take you lot with me. So let's go have a look. So just to make you all aware, I've put no planning into this video whatsoever. I'm just going to walk around, and if I see something that I think might be interesting, we'll have a little chat about it. And I'm going to start over here because I've brought a new plant and I'm not sure what to do with it yet. So this is Agave ovatifolia, and it's one of the hardy ones, providing I can give it free draining soil and put a shelter over it. Now I'm looking at the camera footage and it's not showing nowhere near how blue this really is, and it is a good sized plant. And to be honest, I got it off Facebook Marketplace for a really good price. Now I'm not sure whether it's going to stay in a pot or if I can find somewhere to put it. The weekend just gone, I went to visit one of my favourite private gardens again for a charity day, Simon and Harriet's. You can find footage of that on my channel. It's one of my favourite ones out there, and if you're watching this now, you're probably seeing footage of it as I'm talking. And he had this beautiful sort of arid bed with a really large Agave Americana. Now I would love something like that in this garden, but realistically the only place it could go is in the lawn, and that's not going to happen. I still have a dog and a wife that likes to sit out here on a sun lounger, so I'm not that brave that I'm going to go into the grass yet. But I've definitely got a problem, because if you'd asked me 10 years ago would I ever collect agaves, I would say no. And now I seem to be buying smaller ones to pot up and start collecting. I also want to start collecting aeoniums because I really like them now. I also want to start collecting bromeliads and plants like that, air plants. So if you're new to this and you're thinking about you want this plant and that plant, if you're really into it, it's not going to stop. New plants are going to come along and you're always going to want them. And yeah, I definitely have a problem. Right, I'm going to take you over here to have a little look around. So I've been doing some planting down the left side. It's going to be quite dark down here actually, because it's getting quite late in the evening. I have been watering down here. So a little patch here that I'm waiting to plant something in, but at the moment it's just, I've just put this pot here temporary of this really nice plant, and it is a Calopanix septum lobus, and that's going to grow into, maybe one day I think I'm going to plant it when I find the right space, and it's going to grow into a lovely tree. So let's go round here on this side. Now this has been replanted. I was going to do a separate video on it, and I did start making it and never got round to posting it. So let's see what we've done in here. Right, whew, in your face, look at that. So I have been so torn whether to plant this hydrangea, and I truly can't remember its name, and I don't think I've put a label on it, so I can't tell you. But it's got about the blackest leaves that I've ever seen on any hydrangea, and then it's got these red flowers, which I felt give me a really tropical sort of look. And some days I love it and some days I don't. It's a bit Marmite for me. So at the minute it's giving me loads of colour. I think I'm going to stick with it. So then I have planted, this is my Brassioopsis fatsoides, which is one of the hardier Brassioopsis. So that's going to sort of grow up in front of this Trachycarpus hybrid Princeps hybrid palm, which is there. And I don't know if you ever noticed on these, I'm going off track here now. I told you I hadn't planned it, but if you look at the fur on this compared to a normal Trachycarpus, if I just go over there, that's a normal Trachycarpus fur. And if you look at the one on this hybrid, it looks like it's really having a bad hair day. And I didn't notice that when I was younger, sorry. But yeah, it's a bit sort of Wookiee-like, if you've ever watched Star Wars. Right, let's get back to plants. So what we got in here, so I've gone for a little, I've been trying to sort of add a bit of colour, because as I go into the back, it gets much greener. So there we have Nandina Bright Light, where its new growth comes out lime green rather than red. That's going to grow into a small evergreen shrub there. Then the Fatsoides, and then the really in-your-face hydrangea. Coming back a little bit. Then we've got this Black Eye Susan to train up that post. Now in this spot, and it's still early, I had for years, I've grown Canna Black Velvet. I've dug that out and I've now replaced it with Canna Australia, because I just think they're both burgundy cannas, but I just think it's a more superior plant. I think it's got a beautiful shiny glossy leaf on it, and I thought if I'm gonna have a burgundy canna there, why not pick the one that I think's nicer. Okay, right, I would take you around the back, but I think it's going to be a bit dark for the camera. Is it? Right, I don't know. Let's look at this plant. I didn't realise how much I'd like this. This now is probably my favourite Persicaria, and it is Persicaria virginiana variegata. Now, I love variegated plants, and for a Persicaria, especially here, this is in sort of a semi-shady place. Obviously it's getting darker as I'm videoing this stupidly, but yeah, that for a Persicaria, that is a nice looking plant. So going back, the reason I've planted this Brassioopsis fatsoides here on the left is because I thought it would give me balance to the Brassioopsis mitis that I've planted there on the right. So as I come round, as this one gets bigger, I felt like they'd give me similar foliage. And I've also planted the lime carex on both sides to sort of just try and tie it in, because what I felt like was I had different plants on the left to different plants on the right. Now I've used similar plants on both sides, because it makes me feel like, you know, I could have cut this passageway through the plants by having the same balance on both sides and having very similar plants on both to the left and to the right. And not every bit of it's working. The hydrangea there with the black leaves and the red flowers really is in my face, and I just can't make up my mind on it. Leave it in the comments if you think it looks too much or it looks all right. So let me think what else. Right, okay, let's go around here. So here we have Alströmera India Summer, and that's in this pot. Now my other Alströmeras are getting eaten to bits by slugs, even the same variety, but this one is either outgrowing it and it's growing quicker than they can eat it, because there is a little bit of slug damage on it. But in this new fresh compost in this pot, because it was in the ground and I've lifted it and put it in this pot, it seems to be really doing well with that. Okay, so what else we got in here? I did have Canna Tropicana Gold in here. I've replaced that for some more, and I know it's not looking good now, but more Canna Australia to try and tie them around the other side. And I thought this really nice dark burgundy foliage would tie in with this lovely sort of limey yellow colour of the Formium Yellow Wave, and also Let's move the camera down. I'm not sure how well this camera is picking up this footage, to be fair, but I think as the summer goes on, this Ulstramira is going to tie in really well with a canna behind it. I think the Burgundy will pick up really well. Then let's go up. This is my first year planting out of Brugmansia. I've seen it in the two of my favourite gardens and they just looked amazing, so I thought I'm planting it and then we'll go from there. This is a variegated one. I don't actually know the name. Let's just call it a variegated Brugmansia. If you know the name, let me know. It is getting ready to flower, if you can see here. I bet that footage is really blurry, I do apologise. Okay, so there's been some new planting going in here as well. There is this, pretty much, I think it's a tender fuchsia arborescens, and yeah, I've just thought I'd put it in here for now and see how it goes, because I really like the purple flowers, and I think the purple flowers are going to look absolutely lovely against the Canna Australia, and I'm really looking forward to how this is going to see. Now, really, this is the trouble with winging these videos and not really thinking about what you're going to do. You don't remember all the plant names, but when I was last at Jersey Cottage, I see this plant and I've never grown it before. I'm gonna have to try and get the name on the screen because I can't remember. Is it Actia? I might have got that wrong, but it's got this beautiful black foliage. I think it's perennial, and I think it's, well, it is hardy. I think it's perennial, and I can't even remember what colour the flowers are. This is how unprofessional this video is, but I will find out the name, and if you're desperate to know, leave it in the comments if I haven't put the name up on the screen. Really, I think the black leaves on this with a different foliage shape next to the fuchsia, next to the canna, and the Ulstramira, and then as this Brugmansia gets big, I'm really looking forward. This is a new colour scheme for me, not colour scheme, planting scheme. So yeah, really looking forward to seeing how that changes. Let's have, before I end the video, is there anything else I can talk about? There's my Washington Robusta. My head's gone. Do you know, I did a whole video on me potting this up. Never released that either. Potting it into this new pot, and it's doing really good. I make loads of videos, you know, and I never get around to putting them up. Don't know why. Okay, last couple of things. Right, I'm going to show you I'm losing the light here. I'm going to show you this begonia because quite a few people have asked me about it in the past. And I first see this begonia, and it is a tender begonia, but I do keep it in my greenhouse at just above freezing, so I'll keep it frost free. I don't know if it can take much colder than that, I'm not sure, because it's always gone in there. I first see this at Oak Barn Exotic Garden, which is also on my channel, and it's one of my favourite private gardens as well. Please watch that. I first see that there a few years ago when they put pictures of their Facebook of it, and it's Begonia Benito Chiba, and I don't know why I'm filming it this late at night because it is so much more colourful than this. But what a absolutely lovely begonia. I'm going to do a video later on different cannas, and this one is Thai Rainbow. It hasn't got virus, it is a variegation in the leaves, just in case anyone says that. And like I say, it's still quite early for cannas and stuff. I also have round here, this is in a pot, and this is one of my Canna Stuttgart, which is probably nearly 6 foot tall already. Started off in the greenhouse, and a lot of you are going to say or think this is what happens with Kenna Stuttgart and the white bits do brown off. I tend to grow it in semi-shade conditions and it doesn't happen no way as bad, not at all. Now I've had this plant growing in the garden, if I zoom around here, and if you see this Trachycarpus, it was growing behind there in a semi-shade location, and a couple of years ago it was higher than that Trachycarpus, and I measured it and it was over 3 meters high, that kind of Stuttgart. So they can get quite big, which is quite surprising. So yes, they do get, the white marks do brown up on it, but I would grow it in a slightly shadier conditions, keep it well watered, give it a good sort of organic mix, some nice good compost and stuff in there, keep feeding it well, and they are a lovely canna. Right, like I say, I wasn't planning this tour, I just thought I'd walk around and show you a few plants. What is this cordline called? So here, going across left, hopefully I'm not making you dizzy, this is quite a common cordline Charlie Boy, and this one I think is better. So it's obviously a new hybrid, and I didn't know the name of it. I think it is, get back a bit, okay, I'm too close with the footage. This is, can I zoom in? Nope. Cordline Pink Passion. And I don't know if you can you see the colour difference? It's obviously it's called Pink Passion to the right, and I just think it's a nicer colour, and it does tie in with my colour scheme. Obviously they're probably only hardy to maybe, well, I'm going to keep them in pots, but probably only hardy to about, let's say -4, -5. They will take lower, and they could be, if you got them in the ground, they could be cut back to the ground and then reshoot from the bottom. I've seen that happen with Charlie Boy, so it has a relative amount of hardiness, but if you want to protect them or grow them in a pot, they're going to give you lots of tropical colour. Now it's getting dark quite quick, and I like the colour because it ties in, told you I didn't plan this video, with this Salvia Cherry Lips and the red of the Miner's Merlot and other plants I've round. Burgundies, blacks, some oranges are very much my colour scheme. Now I was hoping that at this time of night we'd sometimes get 2 or 3 bats that circle, do like figure of 8s around the top of the lawn, that come from the, we've got like lakes and some woods at the back, and they tend to come from over that way, but they're not doing their rounds tonight. Right, my unplanned tour. Any questions, leave it in the comments. I'm not going to go to loads of extent to edit this video. Give us a like if you do like, and if you fancy subscribing, it is free, it don't cost you anything. It just makes YouTube think, do you know what, some people like this video, maybe I'll share it with a few more. Thank you very much for watching, and I've got loads of videos planned. I'll see you soon.